Hello everyone, welcome back to another late war battle report. I'm going to be using the British, I think for the first time on this video in late war. So I want to make the most of this Fortress Europe book before the D-Day British comes out next month, which I'm really excited for. Today's game is Rearguard, it's 109 points, so we'll have a look at my force at the moment, because I'm still waiting for Dave to turn up and pick his army. So let's have a look what I'm bringing. So, as usual, a Churchill armoured squadron. The HQ has 2 tanks in it. We have 2 troops of 3 Churchills each. And then we have 2 troops of Shermans, and in each troop there is 1 Firefly. Second formation is a motor company. So we have the HQ, which is just 2 small teams, and 2 full platoons. So that's just 4 rifle Bren gun teams. And there's also a 2-inch mortar and a Piat in these platoons as well, and there's 2 of them. And we have 3 mighty universal carriers to round out the formation. Well, I say round out, they are compulsory for the motor company. In support, I have 4 25-pounders and 4 M10 17-pounders. So for models, that's 108 points. So for today's game, I am going to be taking the artillery expert card. So while I still wait for Dave, I'll just show you the battlefield. And while this video is going out today, the D-Day British book isn't out, and I've seen online a few spoilers for it, which has really made me even look forward to it even more. If you want to know kind of a little overview of what's coming, check out the Breakthrough Assault and No Dice No Glory pages. They've had a look at an early copy and the command cards. Overall, looks really interesting. Bit upset that the British Paras are not veteran and just trained, but I'll get over that. Command cards look really good. I'll be able to field a rifle company as a Welsh rifle company of the Welsh division, which is quite cool, so I can represent my countrymen on the Flames of War battlefield. So yeah, it looks really good. Hopefully within the next couple of months you'll start seeing this British force change up. Probably start to see paratroopers first, and then more Shermans, and then Cromwells, and then we're looking to expand the motor company to a rifle company. So all looks good for the future of this hobby. My bank account isn't looking forward to it, but no, really looking forward, especially to the Cromwells, and seeing what I can do with them. So let's have a look what Dave is bringing for today. So this is what Dave has opted for to defend in this rearguard mission. 2 formations for the Germans. We have a Fallschrimjager StuG company, so it's just 2 StuGs for the HQ and 2 platoons of 3. With this formation, we have Heinz Deutsch or Dutch cards. No doubt everyone will tell me how to pronounce it properly. This is interesting, so the formation commander can re-roll 1 failed to hit roll with the 7.5cm gun. So that's going to be good. Second formation is a Fallschrimjager company, consisting of the HQ of just 2 SMG teams. And then we have, I've put too many out here. So we have 2 short Fallschrimjager platoons, so I'm going to remove a few teams now before we start, and they're upgraded to a Panzerschreck team each. In the formation are 4 of the Stummel mortars, and that is it for that formation. And we also have a card for this company as well. We have the von der Heit, so this is the 6th Fallschrimjager Regiment. So basically everyone within 6 inches of the formation commander has a 2+ last stand, which is nice. In support, we have the 4 8.8cm heavy AA guns and 4 7.5cm guns. Basically Dave decided he'd rather have them a little bit cheaper in support and have a command card. So yeah, that's a very good force. take these extra bases. Lucky I noticed that, Dave, because that would have really been a bit more difficult for me. So then we'll have a look at deployment, and then we'll be throwing some dice. So we're all deployed. Here is the German deployment. All the StuGs are holding this small corner of the right flank. There is an objective under this Fallschrimjager platoon here. The HQ of the Fallschrimjager company is in the tower of this church, so it can spot for artillery. The mortars are behind the church. The 4 Pak 40s are in the open, protecting another objective, with another platoon of infantry in this farmhouse for support. Flak 88s are in reserve. Before we start the game, I'm going to be repositioning my ranged air marker because I have artillery experts, and that is German deployment. Over on this side, I have all my 17 pounders this side, so this is where they'll be needed. I have the M10s in the woods, and then the 2 platoons of Shermans either side. In the centre, I have a troop of Churchills with the 25 pounders, and I have to put the tokens on them because they're in foxholes and gone to ground. And then the HQ and another troop of Churchills over here with the universal carriers and the rest of the infantry. So attacker has first turn, and we have a bit of a slog today. So best luck to you, Dave, and best luck to me as well. So we were going into British turn 1. This is summary of British movement. These Shermans have remained stationary, and so are these M10s. These Shermans have moved up, staying out of the minefield. These Churchills have cross-country dashed. Obviously 25 pounders have stayed where they are. Some infantry have moved into the woods, and the rest are in this building and adjoining craters. The Churchills have moved up here, and the universal carriers have cross-country dashed. As you can see, I tried a follow me, and it didn't work. So now we're going into shooting. And also you can see here, this is where I put my ranged in marker, and that covers all 4 of the Pak 40s, and that's where I'll start this turn, and then I'll give a summary of what happened. Recap of the shooting. These are the only casualties. The M10s managed to bail them a couple of times, but it turned out it was 1 Sherman and 1 Firefly from this platoon here finished off, so that's 2 from 1 platoon gone, so he'll be last standing, but there's his formation commander there. These guys over here failed to hit. The artillery has successfully pinned down these Pak 40s, but none dead, and my infantry and my Churchills pumped loads of machine gun fire into this building, and no pins and no kills yet. So we're going into turn 1 for the Germans. So we'll record. There's no bailed out tanks, but we have a pin down Pak 40 team. So if you roll for them, that is a 5, so they're unpinned. And then the next step is check unit last stand. So you've got a last stand to test to do on this StuG unit. So if you look at the StuG card, it'll be motivation.
So that is a 3+.
3+, because they're fearless. And David's rolled a 3, so this unit is still in. And now you get to decide if you want to bring your ambush in.
I will hold off for a bit.
Okay, Dave's holding off an ambush, so now he's going straight into his movement step. Nice simple recap for movement. These StuGs moved onto the crest of the hill using their tactical move. They had to do this because Dave failed his blitz move on a 3. And we do remember now that Dave can't pass tests like this. But he's really good at passing last stand tests, and he's staying away from any difficult terrain because he can't do movements like I know. That's why we call him cross-check Dave. And I think I'm firepower Rob because I just can't pass firepower tests. So so it's a mix. So Dave can't move anywhere, and I can't kill anything that he can't move. So we're quite evenly matched, I think. So we're going into shooting phase now and see what the Germans can destroy. Probably most of my stuff over here. So far with the fire in these Stugs, struggling with the Shermans. Only one successful hit so far, and it got bounced by a Sherman. Part of the HQ team have tried firing at the Shermans and has missed. So Heinz Dutch now is firing at the M10s. He'll need 6s because his concealment and range, but he gets to re-roll one of these dice because that's his ability. So we'll show this now and see what happens. So we have 2 dice. Oh, and he didn't need it. He got 2 6s. So
can I get another hit, please?
yeah. So do you want to assign this to these 2 M10s? And
yeah.
I think I should have a save.
I'll just pop on the first 2
Okay.
there.
So these 2 here, my front armour is 5, but because of the range, which is over 16 inches, their armour goes to 6. The anti-tank of a Stug is 11, so 5s will equal, so I'll grab my dice. And that's 2 penetrating hits. Oh, your firepower is 3+, so
Okay.
so first one, I'll just do 2, and that's 1 kill and 1 bail for the Germans. So that's 1 M10 down and 1 out of action for now, until my turn. So we'll do a next recap after the remainder of the German shooting. Remainder of the shooting, the Pack 40s failed to hit the Churchills, so I didn't have to do any armour saves over here. I did for the Universal Carriers. They got sprayed by a couple of machine guns from the paratroopers, but luckily my armour saved them. And the infantry here got peppered a bit, but they were all okay. So we're going into British turn 2. The only thing I have to do in my startup step is to unbail this M10. So my motivation is a 4+, so this is a 50-50, and he stays unbailed, but luckily the unit will not be last standing on this turn anyway. So we're going into my movement. Not much moving on this side of the board for me. I would prefer to have full rate of fires for now. The Churchills, however, have moved up in the centre of the board. I did have one cross this hedge and the other one just didn't have enough movement. The infantry are pushing out. Luckily I'm just outside the minefield, and these Churchills are pushing up as well. And the Universal Carriers have done a terrain dash and a follow me to end up by here on this flanking side of the road. So we're going into my shooting now. I'll probably start off with my artillery, and I did check that these are safe from being too close, and then I'm going to be unleashing a hail of fire into this building from all these guys here, so hopefully it will go well. Summary of my shooting: I managed to kill one of the formation tanks. I couldn't have enough firepower to finish off this lone Stug and the formation commander, so this Stug formation is here to stay for now. Over here I managed to kill one of the Pack 40s with my artillery, so they're pinned, and I didn't kill anything in the house, in this farmhouse over here, but they are pinned, so I'll start making my move on that next turn. So that is it for my shooting. Now we're going into German turn 2. So we have no bailed out tanks, but we do have 2 pinned down units, so they are unpinning on a 3+. So do you want to do the Pack 40s first, Dave? They're unpinned, and then the Fallschrimjager platoon in the farmhouse. They are still pinned. So the last thing to do is a last stand test to do on this Stug here. So basically a 3+ again for their motivation. 6, fine. And are you going to bring in your ambush this turn?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll take a video of where you put it, because he is a bit limited to where you can put it this turn. And I'll get back to you. So the Flak 88s have had to go here because I pushed up the Universal Carriers and the Churchills. They have to be 16 inches away because they're a large gun. So although they can cover this objective, it's a little bit better since there's a lot of intervening terrain. And yeah, so obviously I'm probably going to lose a lot of tanks to these because that's what they're there for. So now we're going into German movement for their second turn. German movement, Dave has moved 2 of the StuGs and pivoted another one to get some side shots on these Churchills in the open by here. David has decided that this farmhouse is not defendable and that the objective was more important, so he has tried to get the Fallschrimjager out of the building. We'll see how good an idea that was, but they were outnumbered a lot by a full company of motor platoon, the universal carriers, and 2 platoons of Churchills. So now we're going into the German shooting step and we can see what they can do. This turn I lost quite a bit from Dave's shooting. This Sherman was taken out by a long range shot from the flak 88s up here. The flak 88s also bailed out the Churchill behind this house and killed another one. The Pak 40s tried to go for the universal carriers and they missed. Although I've also lost pretty much an entire platoon of infantry due to mortar fire and the Fallschirmjägers having some shots over the back of their heads as they're running away. So these will probably run away next turn. So we're going into British turn 3. So we'll see if that happens. So first of all we have bailed out tanks. I have a Churchill up behind the hedge, and the Churchill gets back in on a 3+, which he does, which is great. I have an M10 that is bailed out, who is back in. And I have a pinned down infantry platoon over here that is unpinned, and then their last stand test on a 4, which they pass, so we're all good. Although what am I going to do with a Piat and a 2-inch mortar? I don't know. So it's my movement and I'll give a recap of what happened. For movement, the Shermans here have moved around just to get away from the 88s and some of these guys on the hill. These guys are in probably in range. The 88s do have a long range, I'll have to check it, but they do have concealment now from this burning tank of theirs. The Churchill here has done 2 successful cross checks to get to here, and I didn't want to fail another one, so I just popped the other guy around here. This motor platoon has moved around here. I was trying to position them as best as I can to get shots on the infantry. Churchills have done the same, and the universal carriers have moved behind the hedge, so they get some concealment from whatever shoots them from this side. So now we're going into shooting, and after rearranging my artillery somewhere else, most likely it'll be on the flak 88s, since that's the most dangerous thing to me at the moment. So I'll crack on with that and I'll show you a recap of what happens. Hopefully I will kill some stuff. We're shooting. These StuGs are really I'm struggling to get these, even though I had so much success early on. I only managed to bail the last guy in that platoon. The rest has messed up. Although I did manage to shoot and scoot these M10s and pass all their cross checks again back into the woods. Problem is now I'm going to have to try and get them out my next turn. Over here I've set up, if I go over Dave's head, I've set up to try and assault these Pak 40s from behind. Should be good. I had to put down a lot of firepower to kill about 4 bases of this Fallschirmjäger platoon though. The good thing is though I did get the Panzerschreck. So there's nothing going to stop these guys getting into assault. I'll have to measure in the range from this this flak 88 here, but I don't think it'll be able to help. So we are going to have an assault this turn. At the end of that, basically the Pak 40s were powerless to hurt my Churchills, and so with the Fallschirmjäger without their Panzerschreck. So basically what Dave was hoping for, that I'd fail my counter-attack to save what Pak 40s he had. Unfortunately the Fallschirmjäger, a few assaults in, failed their counter-attack, so they had to go into these trees over here. And the Pak 40s, although they couldn't hurt, stayed counter-attacking, and then eventually they were all killed by the by the Churchills. I then consolidated this guy over the hedge, tried to do the same with him, but he is stuck here. So although I will be holding at the start of my turn, I don't think these guys will be here much longer, considering these are all here. But with Dave shooting this turn, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? So now we're going into German turn 3, so I'll get rid of these tokens apart from the pinned down one for the Fallschrimjager. So you have a bailed out StuG by here that requires a motivation, so a 3+. Fine, so he's back in. And then you have a pinned down Fallschrimjager platoon in the woods over here. They remain pinned, so they can't move closer to the objective. And then you have one last stand test to do with this StuG by here on a 3+, with a reroll. Yeah, he's fine. Loves it. So now we're going into German movement for their third turn. So everyone, we did forget that Dave was meant to withdraw a unit last turn, so we had a bit of a discussion. Me and Dave pointed out units that didn't contribute anything to last turn, so in regards to German hits and also shooting that I allocated to it. So it came down to the Fallschrimjager platoon, this platoon on the hill, and the HQ unit. So for last turn, Dave withdrew his HQ unit, and this turn, because he's still over 7, he withdrew the lone StuG in the woods by here. So I think we both agree that's quite fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we looked and we both forgot, and we agree that these mortars here can just about see their ranged in point over there, so they're fine, because that means that in turn 2 the HQ unit contributed nothing, and then this turn it's just back to normal, so we just got rid of that. So all's right in the world, and the German can continue with their movement.
Yeah.
German movement, 2 of these StuGs just rotated and one had to move to get into the ability to fire on these British. The infantry holding this objective have moved into this hotel, which I think is the wrong scale. I haven't opened it up and seen there's only 2 rooms in it. These Fallschirmjäger here have moved into the woods, basically to be out of sight of any MG fire. And that is it for German movement. We'll be going into their shooting now. German shooting, the StuGs have got rid of this troop of Shermans, and the Flak 88s have got rid of a group of Churchills as well, and a few more infantry have dropped down to mortar fire. So it's I am getting whittled away. So in my turn 4, I have to unpin a unit of infantry. I roll a 3, and that is not enough. But I get a reroll because my formation commander is right next to them, and that 6 is enough. And then the last thing I need to do is a last stand on the other platoon. And that's a 5. So they're happy, and I'm happy to continue the rest of my movement. So most likely I'll try and get these guys out of the woods. Movement, blitz move successful, and 2 cross checks successful. So hopefully I'll get rid of Dutchy. All the Churchills and infantry have moved, basically I think 2 infantry teams, and as Churchill is out of the objective, so I am holding it for now, and my HQ is in the roof of this building. So that's quite good. And now we're going into my shooting phase, so I shall be putting down some smoke going across here, because I don't want the Flak 88s firing at my Churchills. He's finally gone. It did take about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shots, of which he was twice bailed and once penetrated, and he's finally gone. So these StuGs will go next turn, so Dave probably won't have to withdraw anything next turn. I did then do a successful shoot and scoot with these, so they have moved up a mighty 4 inches, so I can finally maybe start put some pressure on this objective over here as well. And as you can see, this is my line of smoke. So that was the only shooting I had this turn. So now we're going into German turn 4. Dave has 1 morale test to do with his Fallschirmjäger platoon. He's failed to do a rally 2 turns in a row with these guys now, so he should get it this turn. So on a 3+, you unpin those guys. Nope.
I always get one of these, and I.
So then we're going into formation last stand. So these StuGs are going. Dave?
Huh?
These StuGs are going because their formation is gone.
Oh, right.
Okay,
Yes.
so they will just drive away. And then counting up Dave's units, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So Dave, you gain a delay counter.
Ooh.
So you won't be withdrawing anything for a while now, I guess. So we're going into German movement for their 4th turn. German movement, Dave has moved the Fallschrimjager back out of the hotel with a follow me and back on the objective. Although I think it's pretty conclusive that unless you can kill that guy behind that hedge, it's game. And unfortunately you couldn't move these guys here, so we'll have to measure up, see if he is in range. We'll do the shootings, we'll go through the motion, and then we'll see what happens. So, German shooting. Flak 88's fired down the road and bailed one Sherman. When we measured it out, it turned out the Fallschirmjäger were fully in range of the 2 guys holding this objective. Unfortunately, Dave didn't hit any of them, which is very unfortunate. So that is game. So going into my turn 5, there's nothing to stop them running away because they're in good spirits. Doesn't matter about the Sherman down there. So yeah, so I start my turn within 4, end it within 4, and that is end on British turn 5. So I enjoyed that. That was really good. Nice using the British.
Yeah.
Obviously, it'd be different when I use Cromwell's because they'll be a lot faster than Churchill's. Although I won't be bouncing flak 88 shots at long range with Cromwell's. Yeah, very good game. This duel with the StuGs and the Shermans was interesting. I just never seemed to hit with the Fireflies much, which is what kept their StuGs in the game. But no, I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it, Dave.
Yeah.
Would you have done anything differently?
I don't know. I just think he did better than me tactically. Tactically, I thought we'd got more done that flank, and I couldn't really do much to. I think really it's more some placement of, yeah.
I think it was interesting that you had all your tanks down this side, so I think that's
split it a bit more. I think
that's why I put all my 17-pound guns down here, because there was no reason to have them up on the other flank of the board, and I thought I'm just happy to keep firing them, and luckily they were a bit fleshy, but if they were hidden in the town maybe a bit more difficult. The way you put your infantry was good. I was surprised you took your infantry out of the building. It was a good idea, but yeah. Although in the end I did lose a lot of infantry, so I'm glad you did take them out. Yeah, very elite force I was fighting against, but no, I really enjoyed it. The reason the flak 88s were in difficulty because I moved the universal carrier so fast around, it really limited, and I think that's what protected a lot of these Churchills on this flank over here. But no, a really good game. And did you enjoy playing Late War Germans?
Yeah, I haven't played Germans before, have I, at all?
I think you played mid-war. Might have had a go.
Okay.
But yeah, so Dave had a go at making this list, and I think his eyes lit up because he's seen how many times I've used the Fallschirmjäger against him on the StuGs. But
flak 88s are the bane of my life.
I'm definitely flak 88s. Yeah, I think because I've used them German so much now, I know where they're vulnerable from playing it. And their limitations. I think if I had picked the Germans, I think I might have gone for beach defenders with the assault division upgrade and just have had loads of numbers. But I think you still wouldn't have had as many in a platoon as the Fallschirmjäger because they're massive, apart from Dave taking the short ones. But no, really good game. I hope you enjoyed. I'm really thrilled that many people have already subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the comments people are giving. Still struggling with the resolution on this camera, someone pointed out, but I suppose you could always turn your brightness up. But yeah, anything you could think I could do a bit better, I'm always open to information, and let me know how you all feel about the British book coming out. I know I'm really excited for it. It's like a second Christmas. But But yeah, so hope you all enjoyed, and please subscribe, and also tell your friends and family to get on board as well. Right, goodbye.